Welcome to the Sellin' Podcast with Jeffrey Greif. Jeffrey has spent more than 45 years in sales and marketing, and for more than 25 years, he's presented sales seminars from large corporations to small businesses, as well as teaching university students all about the pride and passion of sales. Now, he's sharing that knowledge and practical advice with you to fast-track your journey to sales success. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or ideas, this is the Sellin' Podcast. And now your host, Jeffrey Greif.
I do not want to tell this story. I don't want to. I do not want to tell this story. I don't want to relive it in my mind, and I certainly don't want to re-experience the emotions. I do not want to tell this story, but because I love you, my brothers and sisters on the path to success in sales, I am going to tell this story and the lesson learned. This is one of the most embarrassing moments of my life and a great lesson learned. Okay, here we go. This story takes place almost 40 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. When I was working in advertising, two of the people I worked with got engaged and invited me and several other business friends to the wedding. The wedding was called for 12 noon on a Sunday at a church in Midtown Manhattan. Two of my associates and I all lived at various locations on the Upper West Side, so we decided to share a taxi cab that day and go to the church together. We all got into the cab at about 11:30, hit a little traffic, but no big deal as we were only 15 or 20 blocks away from the church and we had plenty of time to get there by noon. We arrived at 11:55. Perfect timing, perfect, right on time. I remember it was a beautiful day in the city, not a cloud in the sky, hot sun, cool breeze. Perfect day for a wedding. I remember walking up the stone stairway to the front doors of the church, admiring the church. The steeple reached up into the sky, all the way into heaven. Beautiful. As we walked up the stone steps, and there must have been 30 of them leading up to the huge church doors, I do remember thinking to myself, isn't it strange? Not a single other person on these steps? Come to think of it, as I looked around, there's not a single person anywhere outside the church. That's odd. A wedding and no one is mingling around outside the church. We were on time. No one's walking up the steps leading to the main doors of the church with us. That's odd. Well, my friends and I got to the top of the steps to enter the church. The doors, they were huge wooden doors with two large handles. Huge doors, probably 25 feet high and 10 feet wide. They were massive, beautiful. Two large handles. I grabbed those handles to open up both of the doors. And as I walked into the church, the entire congregation of the church was looking at me, and they were all horrified. Everyone in the church was looking at me. One of them was my boss, and she was, I don't even know how to describe her expression. The groom, the priest, the entire wedding party were on the altar, and they were looking at me. They were all shocked. The choir, you may have guessed it by now, the choir was playing Here Comes the Bride. The bride and her father were standing 2 feet away from me to my right, just as they were about to walk down the aisle. I kissed the bride on the cheek. I shook her father's hand and said, "Congratulations," and I ran off to the left side of the church pews and I hid. I don't remember much about any other thing about that day. I do seem to recall attending the reception and saying congratulations to the groom, but I think I left soon afterwards. All the while I was thinking, what the heck happened? I was on time. The reason why I'm telling this story and reliving this embarrassment, what is the lesson learned and learned well? The lesson is you are either early or late. There is no such thing as being on time. I'll say it again. There is no such thing as being on time. You are either early or late. When you have a sales appointment, be early. Get there 15 or 20 minutes before the time of the appointment. Arrive late and you are a dead duck. Arrive late and your client or prospect will not be paying any attention at all to a single word of your sales presentation. They will be thinking, if this salesperson can't be timely for our meeting, how can I possibly trust that they will provide the product or service that I require? And they'll also be thinking how quickly they can get this idiot out of their office. No excuses will convince the client or prospect otherwise. Nope. Arrive early, and your client or prospect will appreciate that you arrived early. Why? Because they're busy. When you arrive early, it helps your client or prospect. It helps them to coordinate your meeting and accommodate their schedule. If you arrive at exactly the time scheduled for the meeting, I guarantee that something else is going to come up in the interim with your client or prospect. The person that you're meeting with, they will almost certainly just have gotten involved with some other important concern. A client of theirs has called, a partner or staff member has unexpectedly walked into their office, or any number of issues may arise that they have to address. When you walk in at the time of the meeting, you'll sit there for a while, waiting for the person who you are meeting with to finish up their urgent, unexpected matters. And all the while, they'll be thinking about the meeting they have with you. They'll be thinking about you, waiting for them, and they will be feeling stress. Be there 15 or 20 minutes early, and they will appreciate you. Most importantly, you are accommodating their schedule. They will feel less stressed. Believe me, you don't want to have a meeting with a client or a prospect when they're stressed. Also, when you attend a networking event, always get there early. Always. You'll have an opportunity to meet with the host organizers of the event. You may have an opportunity to help the host organizers and committee members with any last-minute arrangements that they're concerned with. And you will be able to meet with other professionals who have also arrived early. Last week, I attended a networking event and I arrived 45 minutes early. I helped out a little bit at the front desk. I mingled with other professionals who had arrived early, and I met every single one of the event's attendees for the evening. It was beautiful. Keep this in mind also with your company, your managers. Forced to attend a sales meeting? You're either early or late. No such thing as being on time. Be early with your personal meetings as well. Believe me, when my wife and I are going out to dinner or attending a party together, I always do my best to be ready earlier than expected. When I'm ready early, my wife feels less stress. I'm ready to go, and it's one less thing that she's got to be worried about. When I'm late and she's waiting for me, she's thinking that I am causing us to be late for a dinner reservation or late for a party with friends. She thinks I'm being disrespectful of her. Of course. And believe me, her attitude is a whole lot different that entire evening than it otherwise would have been. Your clients and prospects feel the same way. Be early to a meeting, and your clients and prospects will appreciate your kind consideration. There is no such thing as being on time. You're either early or late. Oh, and before I end this episode of the Sellin' Podcast, I'm very proud to announce that the Sellin' Podcast can now be heard on the YouTube podcast. If you are listening to the Sellin' Podcast on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe so you'll never miss a single episode. And if you are listening to the Sellin' Podcast on your favorite directories such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or any one of the several dozen of podcast directories where you can find The Sellin' Podcast. Be sure to follow the show and forward the link to your business associates and friends. You don't want to miss a single episode of the Sellin' Podcast. Now get out there and sell.
We hope you found this episode of the Sellin' Podcast helpful and of interest. Please make sure to like, rate, and review. And mention this podcast to a friend or a business associate. Have a comment about this podcast? Have a topic you'd like Jeffrey to discuss? Feel free to contact Jeffrey directly at jeffrey@sellin.net. He'll read and review every one of your emails. That's jeffrey@sellin.net. .net as in networking for success in sales. Now, take what you've learned today and get out there and sell. See you next time on the Sellin' Podcast.